Good day, podcast community. I'm Pete Kane, Podcast Pete, co-founder of Podcast Academy, co-founder of our KSP, Key Strategic Partner Collaborative Magazine. I want to help you because this is where I was. Man, dyslexic, ADD, always wanted to do one more thing, always was chasing the next thing. Try this, try that, read this, do this. But that didn't work. And what worked was strategy and understanding and learning from people that already did it. So in this case, key person of influence, Daniel Priestley. In the personal development side, Brendan Burchard, who's founder of Growth Day and one of the most accomplished coaches, teachers, motivators, personal development person on the planet. When you learn from the best, success leaves clues. And it did, almost like smack you in the face. Let's go into 7-11-4 because I want to give you three strategies for you to use. Something simple but applied give you tremendous results. Now, does that mean this is the key and you're going to make this magical switch and in 2 days you're going to be cranking out and building your business to the highest level? No. But what it does mean, it's a mindset shift. You make this shift, and instead of chasing the next the silver object, what's going on with AI, you're trying to figure out all this stuff because information keeps doubling and tripling and quadrupling 100 times, and your head's spinning and you're going, cheesy peasy. How do I build my business? Well, it's actually pretty simple because 7-11 means 7 hours, 11 buying signals in 4 different platforms. Here's where I struggled, and I see a lot of people struggling with the 5 Ps because that's what the book is all about. I recommend getting it. We do a meetup on Wednesdays, and I'm going to give you a place to connect with us because understanding this principle, understanding your strategy will save you a lot of aggravation, a lot of time, and a lot of resources because 50% of marketing works and 50% doesn't. You got to figure out which works for you. And where I want to help you is learn from my mistakes. 3 years ago, I had a stroke, lost the left side. Avid golfer, runner, not anymore because things change. Sometimes change and you're not ready for it. But sometimes you accept the change, you take the cards that are dealt you, and you figure out how to play them. And figuring out how to play them is leaning into the struggle, honoring the struggle, being uncomfortable, learning something new, because we all want to have a mindset of learning, a growth mindset versus a fixed mindset. Carol Dweck in Mindset. Very famously, she talks about just using a simple word like yet. I haven't accomplished this yet. You're telling your brain you're on the right path. And you don't want to say, oh, I've heard this before. I don't need. That's a fixed mindset. But here we're talking, keep your mind open. And if you keep your mind open through, I'm going to do 25 more minutes. So I'm going to give you a gift at the end that you can apply and start making that shift in your mindset. Because it's very simple if you get the concept. Instead of trying to play the algorithms, which there's nothing wrong with it, but I had a digital marketing business before my stroke. Every time I would figure out a strategy, Google would change it. And I'd go back to, not square one, but back to trying to figure out what would it take to get my clients up on the first page of Google. up in those first three positions because that's where people make their decisions. Second page, nobody goes to it. What do they say? That's people. I don't forget. Whatever nobody goes to the second page. Now there's so many more ways to get your information. Podcasting is one of them. Okay, 7-11-4. And what is the 5 P's that Daniel Priestley talks about in this book? Pitch, profile, product, presentation, and partnership. We're not going to go into detail, but we've done other videos on it, but I want to go through just the pitch part and the profile part and really the first three, because presentation and partnerships can come at a different time, but I want to really focus on helping you to understand the importance of the sequence. See, I've used to be this way, ADD, dyslexic. I was messed up. I mean, trying to get things done because your list was 3 pages and you'd get 3 things done. Now my list, I have a list, but one thing that I want to accomplish in a day, one major thing that I focus on. But let's go back to the pitch. See, we're in a time-starved culture. You know it because you see it. TikTok, short videos, exploding onto the scene. People's attention span has gotten shorter and shorter in the last few years. It's going to continue. That's why you have to be aware of people don't have 5 minutes to hear your pitch. You may be passionate about it. You may think it's the greatest thing, but not everybody does. When you throw up on people for 5 minutes, when they say, tell me what you do, and you're 5 minutes later going into this detail, you lost them at 10 seconds. You have 10 seconds. That's it. If you can't pique their interest in 10 seconds, you got to work on it. We generate leads, create cash flow, and build thriving communities, period. Okay, if somebody says nothing, I don't say anything more because they're not interested. They haven't raised their hand and say, well, tell me what creating cash flow means. That's a buying signal. That gives me an opportunity, permission to expand. However, if they say nothing, you say nothing. Get to know them. Just ask some questions about them. Get to know them. You don't have to be pitching somebody that has no interest. Maybe they don't give a rip about cash flow. They're just busting it out. That's not something that's a pain point for them. So you have to be dialed into people when they're asking you questions. They're asking you because they're curious. And when we look at 7-11-4, 7 is 7 hours. People now, that's why profile, we'll talk about it in a minute. That's why your profile online, your digital profile, has got to be good enough that somebody's going to want more. That's what the buying signals are all about. So if you're putting good content out there and I meet you and I search you and I see lots of content, I'm going to find out more if that is the route I want to take. So you got to put yourself in the shoes of your ideal client. Who are you trying to attract? If you don't know that, you got to go back to square one. Because if you don't know who your ideal client is, how are you going to create anything to solve their pain, solve their problems, to be able to do business with them, which it's a courting stage. Most businesses, there's some transactional businesses, most businesses, it's a courting stage, meaning you didn't ask the first time you met your significant others to marry you on the first date. Now, maybe someday, but normally you don't. You got to get to know them. You got to court them. You got to put your best foot forward. You're doing the same with your business. Put your best foot forward. Put things out there that people say, tell me more. So, how do you generate leads? Buying signal. We do it through podcasting, publishing, and building thriving communities. Tell me more about the podcasting. I've heard a lot about that. Well, we provide a free podcast where somebody can get on and we can get to know them, build a relationship, and shine on them in our community. Connect them with people, get their story out there, their first part of the story. So people go, man, I like that. Because if they search their name and they have nothing out there, it's a good chance that podcast is going to show up pretty high on the search because Google loves fresh content and podcasting is hot. I mean, there's thousands of them out there. Why? Because they work. Numbers don't lie. Look at the recent election. One candidate did 40 hours of podcasting, another did practically nothing. It was one where it was all scripted out and everything was like controlled. You got to ask me these questions. I mean, give me a break. She was fearful of saying the wrong thing. And if you're fearful, it owns you. And when it owns you, you can't do anything. So if you're fearful about something, that means you got to do it. Because one shoulder is fear, the other shoulder is courage. Which one are you going to feed? If you feed the fear, it grows. You feed the courage, it grows. That muscle grows, and you want to feed the courage muscle. So when it comes to that podcast, it gives us the ability to introduce you to our community, introduce you to the online world, and get you understanding the power of a podcast. Now, will one podcast do it? No, absolutely not. But it's the journey of 1,000 steps starts with the first step. So if you come on and a guest on my podcast, and let me see if I can just go to PeteKane.me. Okay. Go to PeteKane.me and be a guest. Fill out a little assessment so I can get to know you, so I can ask you better questions. Do that, and you can experience it. Because if you're in the U.S., you probably know of Costco. Costco, for people that are not familiar with the concept, bigger portions of things, high value, bigger portions. I'm not going to buy a big bag of something thinking, well, what if I don't like it? I throw it away. But they give you samples. So you sample it and you like it and you buy it. So you come on my podcast, you get to sample it. Maybe you like the strategy. Maybe you decide that this is what I need to do is put myself out there more. Make a digital profile because the world changed. Industrial revolution, the industrial culture trend, industrial, what do you call it when you go industrial time of our world is gone. We're now in a digital world. We're now globally. That's all we say. We build thriving communities locally and globally because the global is the digital. So you got to have both, like print. We have print magazines. We have print books. That's another way for people to consume you. So you should have both print and digital in your world because now people are going to be able to get to know you, like you, and trust you through the content that you put out there. If you don't have a book, you don't give people an opportunity to get to know you. I've read this book. I've listened to it about 8 times. I probably read it twice. maybe 2.5 times different parts. So he gave me I bought the book to get to know the person because I was interested. Buying signal, spent some money, interested. People have to be interested in you. If they're not interested in the solution you have. So why would you waste your time doing 5 minutes when somebody has no interest in what you're doing? I was at an event back in, I think it was November last year, introduced a friend to another friend. That friend threw up on that other friend. I was embarrassed. All she said is, "What do you do?" She didn't need the whole summary of everything that you've ever done in your life. I know she was rolling her eyes and said, "Man, I hope Pete doesn't introduce me to these kind of people," because the pitch was insensitive to the person receiving it. If you just say 10 seconds, 10 seconds, what do you solve? Do you know how people struggle with X? What I do is Y. 5 seconds, done. If somebody says nothing, then they know you've respected their time. You didn't just try to sell them on the first engagement because you're passionate about it and you think you got to throw up on somebody when they ask you a simple question. What do you do? So you got to work on your pitch. Solve a problem, state a problem, and solve it quickly. Then wait. If they say, "Tell me more about this. How do you do this?" That's a buying signal. Now you know that they're interested. When they're interested, they lean into you. It's a need to know. Be sensitive because we're in a time-starved time. Things are getting fast. They're going to get faster with AI. So you got to be building those relationships, but be respectful to people receiving your information. So your profile can be different things. It could be a book, a workbook. It could be like we do. This is our kind of our path to a key person of influence community. We recommend they try Growth Day. It's the Netflix of personal development, because if you're not developing your leadership, you're not developing yourself, you're not becoming better, your business is not going to grow. So many of us want to do everything, but we don't work on ourselves. And perfect example, I always had good advice for others, but I didn't take my own advice. So that's where Growth Day, and let me see, I'll put it up here, 7 days. Try it, 7 days. And have Brendon Burchard, the founder of Growth Day, speaking into you for 7 days. The 5 to Thrive, as we call it, 5 to Thrive. 5 simple steps every day. It's like the fuel to your rocket for the day. And if you have fuel in your rocket, you're going to get there. If you have no fuel, which I did a week ago in my PT, I didn't eat breakfast, no fuel. And I worked out, and man, I'll never do that again because the body told me I didn't have any fuel, and it weirded out. It's the worst I've ever experienced when everything goes south because no fuel. You need fuel for your business. You need personal development. You need leadership. You need to master. You got to keep getting better and better and better. And learning how to build a community, learning how to develop your team, being better at pitching, building your profile, presentation, partnership. These are critical for you. And so when we look at this, and this is, if you go to pkane.me, we call it Grow and Connect with Us. Go to pkane.me/connect, because we have a series of things we help you connect. We help you when you get on our podcast. We might invite you back to be on our summit where you do 5 minutes, 3 points. You got to get used to communicating in shorter time frames, thinking it through, planning it out. 5 minutes goes fast. Anybody can talk for 30, and if it's not organized, 3 points, 5 minutes. So when we have here our summit like that, we do twice a month. We're going to do one Friday 8 o'clock, where we have 10 speakers, 5 minutes, 3 points, 15 talks. That way we're bringing our community to you. Is there somebody in there that you can benefit from? We're not going to sit there and give you a 30-minute presentation. We just want to give you enough to say, can that person help you? You do a podcast first, then you connect with us. Podcast first, be a guest on our podcast, fill out the assessment. That's a buying signal. You got to do something. If you don't want to be on my podcast, don't. But why would you not? We can connect you up with our community. We can shine on you. We can create a digital asset. We can put your story out in the digital world. And then I can say, Mary, meet Sally. Sally, here's Mary. I think you two need to know each other. That's what we do. We connect. So we have Wednesday, we do a meetup where we help you to understand more about this concept. When you're talking about the key person of influence, a book you need to, it's the Bible of influence, the Bible of you surviving and thriving in today's world, because you don't have to worry so much about your algorithm. You just have to put yourself out there and put enough content that people can consume you. And when they consume you, they know you, like you, and trust you. And they make buying signals. 11 is the magic number. I think it's 10.4 in Google Zero Moment of Truth. When people have expressed buying signals to the tune of 11, that means they're interested. And they see you on 4 different platforms: a book, a podcast, a workbook, different things that you put out there, and they can see you, then the brain just connects. Know, like, and trust. So your pitch, you get that down 10 seconds. Longer once they've shown interest. But at first, be respectful of people's times. Be respectful that they have little time. They don't need to hear you spend 5 minutes telling all about your business because you're passionate about it, and they're not, and they are busy, and you're just thinking that if I can throw up on somebody, maybe something will stick. Well, what will stick is they're heading south. They're leaving you. Be respectful. I know I'm joking about that, but be respectful of people's time. When you do that, you connect, you build that relationship. When people know you respect their time, they have more respect for you. When you're just there trying to sell them on the first date, trying to ask them to marry you on the first date, doesn't normally work. Court them. And when they give you buying signals, continue to court them until they do the 7-11-4. When that happens, and you know your ideal client, and you've been taking them through this journey, and the product, which I'm going to give you right now because I told you I would, our product is our masterclass. So you can go to petekane.me/masterclass. And that's our gift to you. 10 key strategies to grow your business by 10x. Assessment number one. Assessment number one. Number two is high performance coaching. 3 is the publishing part, which is our collaborative magazine. 4, 5 is growth day. And I'm drawing them. Look, bear with me. I lost short-term memory when I had a stroke. So things I used to remember don't come as close. I know it's when we talk about podcasts and publishing and building communities. Be bold, make an impact, and have fun. I'm just trying to buy myself. I know I should know, but just go to Masterclass. There are 10 steps, 10 key things. And because strategy, some of them you'll do later, like number 10 is social media amplification, Krista O'Neill. Number 9 is my partner with the magazine. Because when you think, and here I'm giving you everything, the magazine, if you're on the cover of the magazine, let me see if I can show you a little bit. If you're on the cover, I know I have it here. Hold on. Oh, darn. Hold on. Let me go back to that. I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hold on here. I know here we go. Here we go. If you're on the cover, like me, right here, that was me 3 years ago, just about. That was the first time I had been outside. They have a courtyard at Shepherd. That's my team. And that's a clue. Everybody needs a team. This was my team. I won't say their names because they didn't give me permission, but my speech pathologist, my OT is on the far right. My speech is next to me on my right side. Then my physical therapist and recreational therapist. All 4 therapists was the team they bring to you to help you recover. So I had to learn how to eat, learn how to do everything. When you lose your left side, you lose a lot of other functions, because when half the body's not working, it affects the good side too. But hey, when that happens, you got to figure it out. Being on the cover of our magazine, and I think I'm going to try and do this. Hold on, because I have this where I can show you something kind of cool. Bear with me just a second, because it's so important that we help you to do it more efficiently. You know what? Oh, gosh. I know it was on here. Oh, yeah, it's in here. Oh. Okay. Nope. Well, I thought I could get to it quickly, and I did not. So let me get out of this. Okay. But anyway, being on the cover, surrounding yourself with your key strategic partners. These are people you trust, that you've done business with, and you can actually hand them a physical magazine that has your team around you. You become more valuable. And when you become more valuable and you're talking to your ideal prospect, there's a better chance that you're going to be able to do business with that person over somebody that just brings themselves. So bring a team to the table and do it through a magazine. You can see a sample of this in the petekane.me/magazine. So as we wind down, we have live events once a month. We have virtual events twice a month. we have ways for you to connect, and we give you a master class, which is my gift to you. You don't even have to give me anything. Just take it, enjoy it. So, and then if you want to really invest in yourself, do it through Growth Day. Go to petekane.me/growth day and have Brendon Burchard speak to you each day. The rocket doesn't go without fuel. You would have the personal development, the fuel to take your business, which is a rocket, to the highest level if you have the right people that you're surrounding yourself. And the Netflix of personal development is that close to you. You can try it for 7 days. Let us know through support@petekane.me, and we'll send you our course, Mindset, Goals, and Habits. Okay. Thank you. Let me go back to this. So, and here is, when you look at this, pitch, build your digital profile, have your product, make a good presentation, have that presentation down, and create partnerships. When you do that, the world is your oyster. And you have to just focus on those 5 Ps, learning this book by Daniel Priestley, and the 7-11-4. 7 hours of content, 11 buying signals, 4 different platforms. We wish you the best success because I want to see you succeed. We're getting into some crazy times, and here is an offer for you. You can go to petekane.me/KPI Club, and you can start once a month. We have a community where we teach you. You can start for $1. If you use Podcast Pete, it's $97 a month for us to teach you 3 to 5 strategies. You have a actual worksheet that you can use up and start your journey. If that's something that you want to, if anything that we've said interests you and you want to make a buying signal, that buying signal will cost you $1. $1. You get to experience us. We want you to sample us. See if we can help your business grow in a very time-starved, competitive world. Because if you don't have AI, and I think I'm going to give you that too, because it's so important. You're hearing so much about it. My partner has an AI agency. He's got a free course for you, petekane.me/AI. It's so important to learn it, be familiar with it. Early adopters can benefit because they're early. AI is still early, but I tell you, it's early for a lot of people, but not some that have already taken their leap. Go to petekane.me/AI, take Jeff's course, understand how it can apply to your business so you can be bold, make a difference, and have fun. Be bold, make a difference, and have fun. And I'm going back as quick as I can. There we go. Be bold, make a difference, and have fun. Thank you. Please share this with people you think want a strategy in a time-starved time of our life and want to win. Be bold, make a difference.